from Gwalior in the year 1972, and from 73 I served RSCB, then JVBNL, Jodhpur Vidyut Vitran Nigam, again JVBNL, and from the level of junior engineer to managing director. Recently I have resigned, and I have come back to my home and enjoying such type of conferences, VCs. So that's my introduction. Thank you.
MM Bhardwaj sahab.
I'm MM Bharadwaj. I did my engineering from Regional College Allahabad in 1971. Then I joined State Electricity Board, Rajasthan State Electricity Board for 2 years. Then I was in instrumentation for 8 years. Then I superannuated as a managing director and chairman of Rajasthan Electronics and Instruments Limited. I was MD for 14 years and chairman for 2 years. Now I am running our own company, Empower Green Energy Private Limited, and I am in this field, solar field, for last 35 years. Thank you.
Mr. Balmukh Sanadia, PM Sanadia is your founder director. Sanadia साहब अपना इंट्रोडक्शन दीजिए. Sanadia साहब.
हाँ साहब,
आप अपना इंट्रोडक्शन दीजिए सर.
हाँ डीडी साहब, सबसे पहले तो मैं आपको बहुत विशेष रूप से धन्यवाद देता हूँ.
इंट्रोडक्शन करो अभी तो आप.
आपका, मेरा तो नाम छोटा सा ही नाम है, बाल मुकुंद सनाड्य नाम है. जन्म स्थान तो मेरा नाथद्वारा है, श्रीनाथ जी का मंदिर जहाँ है, अभी तो बंद पड़ा हुआ है. और मैंने वहीं से गांव से पढ़ाई की थी अपनी, और 65 बैच से मैंने MBA इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज से इंजीनियरिंग किया था. और उसके बाद से हम लोग इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बोर्ड में ही 2000 तक रहे, और विभिन्न स्थानों पर राजस्थान के विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में काम करने का अवसर मिला. और बहुत यादें हैं पुरानी, बाकी तो विशेष परिचय इतने.
धर्मदेव जी हमें कुछ शुरू करना चाहिए. बाद में बताना चाहता था कि हमने एक और काम किया राजस्थान में. वो राजस्थान डेजर्ट में हमको 5000 घरों में सोलर DC सिस्टम लगाने के लिए कहा गया था
जी.
तो 5-6 साल पहले तो मैं आया था अपनी टीम के साथ, और 5000 में सोलर DC सिस्टम लगाया था. DC मतलब कि पूरी लाइट, फैन, USB चार्जिंग, टेलीविजन, सारे DC सिस्टम लगाए थे. उसके बाद हम लोगों ने लगाकर साल भर चलाया था. उसके बाद इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बोर्ड को हमने हैंडओवर कर दिया था वहाँ. तो वो भी हम लोगों ने किया था. ये हम लोगों ने किया था 15-16 में किया था.
It was in the जोधपुर एरिया.
जोधपुर नहीं था. हाँ, वो डेजर्ट में था. उससे जोधपुर होके ही जाते थे, पर जोधपुर नहीं थे, तो काफी अंदर जाना पड़ता था. एकदम थोड़ा सा.
It was state government finance?
No, it was financed by I think it was financed by REC. It was financed directly by Piyush Goyal's office.
The lot many villages are still wanting that.
Yeah, we were given something items. We did it in every one of them.
We are still trying because we found, we requested the Tata Microgrids to have some villages here in Rajasthan. I requested Ashish Khanna ji, once upon Tata Renewables के जो वो है CEO, उनको रिक्वेस्ट भी किया था कि सब कुछ काम इधर भी शुरू करिए. उन्होंने कहा हमारा अभी लोकेशन यूपी और बिहार में ही है. And then we go to Odisha. When I think of Rajasthan also, there are so many small habitants which are not able to get the power.
नहीं तो ठीक है सर, आप शुरू कीजिए. वो सिस्टम हमने बनाया था, IIT मद्रास में बनाया था. ये 125 सोलर पैनल में हमने पूरा घर 2-3 लाइट और 2 पंखे और सब कुछ कर हम चला देते थे. तो एनीवे अब उसको करिए. मैं आज का टॉपिक पर आ जाता हूँ. इफ यू स्टार्ट, कैन यू स्टार्ट, बिकॉज़ इट्स ऑलमोस्ट 6 o'clock.
Yeah, we just start. So dear friends, I'm DD Agrawal. I welcome you all on my personal behalf and on behalf of Samata Power. in this important webinar on our sector. Topic being how India can move towards 100% renewables generation. Now I request BM Sanadia ji to give a welcome address, small address. Just welcome, sir. Sanadia sahab.
हाँ
Sanadia
डीडी
sahab.
साहब,
हाँ, just small address. Welcome address.
डीडी साहब, मैं सबसे पहले तो आज का ये दिन जो है बहुत विशेष रूप से समता पावर के इतिहास में दर्ज किया जाएगा। आज वैसे भी राजस्थान के लिए एक बहुत गौरवशाली दिन है, प्रताप जयंती है, और उस शुभ अवसर पर डॉक्टर झुंझुनवाला का आशीर्वाद हमको मिलेगा, तो ये समता पावर की यात्रा में एक बहुत बड़ा माइलस्टोन होगा। और मैं सोचता हूँ कि आज के स्टॉक से हम सभी को जिस मिशन के लिए हम चल रहे हैं कि जन सहभागिता से बिजली में प्रगति हो, उस दिशा में, और जो अभी प्रकृति का जो दृश्य हम देख रहे हैं उसमें रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी के महत्व को देखते हुए आज जो आपने आमंत्रित किया है और डॉक्टर साहब ने जो बड़ी कृपा की है हम पर कि उन्होंने हमको ये अवसर दिया है कि उनके मार्गदर्शन में हमको बहुत कुछ दिशा मिलेगी। मैं पुनः आप सभी का, डॉक्टर साहब का स्वागत करता हूं और डीडी साहब से निवेदन करता हूं कि इस आयोजन को आगे बढ़ाएं। धन्यवाद, सबका हार्दिक स्वागत।
Thanks, Sanadia sahab, for your inspiring words. I also acknowledge for your inspiring words. I also acknowledge and appreciate the presence of the representatives of Indian Solar Power Association, Rajasthan Solar Power Association, National Solar Energy Federation of India, Indian Wind Power Association, various engineering colleges of state, NTPC, members of Prayas Energy Group, former MDs and CMDs of DISCOMs, Geneco and Transco for the participation in the webinar. We are thankful to all of you for participating in the webinar. Now I would like to say a few words about, I have already spoken about the Samta Power, but just for a few seconds I will again speak those words. Samta Power एक NGO कंपनी है, पिछले 15 वर्षों से स्टेक होल्डर्स और कंज्यूमर्स और पब्लिक एट लार्ज की समस्याओं को सुलझाने के में प्रयासरत लगी हुई है। मुख्यतः पॉलिसी एडवोकेसी के अनुरूप रेगुलेटर, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, डिस्कॉम्स, अपीलेट अथॉरिटी, हाई कोर्ट, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में रिट या अपील द्वारा कंज्यूमर्स, स्टेक होल्डर्स की सहायता करती है। खासतौर से सेफ्टी, सिक्योरिटी एंड स्किलिंग से संबंधित याचिकाएं आज भी रेगुलेटर व हाई कोर्ट में पेंडिंग है। श्री BM सनाडिया साहब जो एक गांधीवादी विचारों के धनी है, इनकी अगुवाई में इस संस्था में 70 मेंबर हैं, जिनमें ज्यादातर इंजीनियर्स हैं। इसके अलावा रिटायर्ड IAS, CA, मैनेजमेंट एक्सपर्ट, एनर्जी एनालिस्ट, लीगल एडवाइजर, एनर्जी ऑडिटर्स, चार्टर्ड इंजीनियर्स और एनर्जी मैनेजर्स भी जुड़े हुए हैं। हमारा अन्य मुख्य उद्देश्य में क्लीन एनर्जी को प्रोत्साहित करना तथा सही दर पर सही गुणवत्ता की पूरे समय तक विद्युत की उपलब्धता बने और सभी को मिले, ऐसी व्यवस्था हेतु निगमों में सुधारों के लिए प्रेरित करना भी है। नई टेक्नोलॉजी जेनेको, ट्रांसको और डिस्कॉम में अडॉप्ट करें, उसके लिए भी बराबर प्रयत्नशील रहे हैं। हमारे बीच वो श्री कल्ला साहब नहीं आ पाए हैं। कल्ला साहब के अचानक दांत में दर्द होने की वजह से वो नहीं है, इसलिए मैं अब श्री AK शर्मा साहब से निवेदन करूंगा कि AK शर्मा साहब श्री झुंझुनवाला साहब का एक शॉर्ट इंट्रोडक्शन दें। AK शर्मा साहब।
जी, यस सर। गुड इवनिंग सर। हेलो। हाँ सर, गुड इवनिंग। AK शर्मा स्पीकिंग।
प्लीज।
आज समता के मंच पर एक साधारण, एक विलक्षण प्रतिभा के धनी, राजस्थान के कलकत्ता में जन्मे मारवाड़ी प्रोफेसर, पद्मश्री प्रोफेसर अशोक झुंझुनवाला साहब आज हमारे बीच में हमारा ज्ञान वर्धन करने के लिए विराजे हैं। मैं हृदय के अंतरपटल से आपका स्वागत करता हूं सर। वैसे बिजनेस में और धन कमाने में मारवाड़ी जाने जाते हैं, लेकिन प्रोफेसर अशोक एक बिरले मारवाड़ी हैं जिन्होंने उच्च तकनीकी शिक्षा एवं रिसर्च में न कि भारत में परंतु भारत विदेशों में भी भारत का डंका बजाया है। आज आप ज्ञानपुंज बनकर भारत के विकास में अहम योगदान दे रहे हैं। 1953 में जन्मे डॉक्टर अशोक प्रारंभ से ही शिक्षा में अग्रणी रहे हैं और आपने IIT कानपुर से इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग में डिग्री प्राप्त की और फिर एमटेक यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ मैन USA से PhD प्राप्त की। आप प्रारंभ से ही IIT मद्रास में 1981 से अध्यापन का कार्य करते हैं। आपने एक साल USA में 1979 में वाशिंगटन स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटी में भी अध्यापन का काम किया है। प्रोफेसर झुंझुनवाला अब टेक्नोलॉजिकल डेवलपमेंट इनोवेशन के एक पर्यायवाची शब्द बन गए हैं। आपने कई क्षेत्रों में पॉइनियर कार्य किया है। He has left not one but numerous footprints for Indian technological development. आज आपकी ख्याति चारों ओर प्रकाशमान है और इसके कुछ उदाहरण मैं आपको देता हूँ। After joining IIT Madras 81, he observed that Indian industry is not spent on R&D and rather prefer to import technology, which resulted into high cost and not affordable to masses. Professor Jhunjhunwala's approach of collaboration of IIT Madras and industry has resulted into development and adoption of technology at grassroots. He set up a IIM research park near his IIT, and there are now 60 R&D centers, startups industry, which work in tandem with IITM, which is a great example of industry and institution working together. His contribution is innovation in telecom networks. His work on development of Codect wireless loose loop WLL approved India's move into to lower cost vis-a-vis other global technologies for enabling wireless access solution to telecom networks. With integration of both voice and internet services, it was a great achievement, and because of this research, he was conferred Padma Shri in 2002 for his work on wireless communication system. And we congratulate you, Professor Jhunjhunwala, for such an exceptional award. There is a long list of awards for such a great scientist. His contribution in technology innovations are extremely good, like innovation in electric vehicles. Since 2016, he is relentlessly contributing to the government level and different level. Innovation of solar decentralization. Professor Jhunjhunwala is a guiding force to contribution and shape of India's policies. He is in a numerous commissions, committees, and he is a director on board of public sector companies like BSNL, SBI, Tata Services, Mahindra Electrical, and so many. The list is countless. He is a principal advisor to the Ministry of Power. He is principal advisor to Ministry of Railways and whatnot. It is another long list. He is more than 27 patents and research papers in his name. Apart from Padma Shri, he has been awarded prestigious awards like Shanti Bhushan Bhatnagar Award, which is equivalent to a Nobel Award of India, especially in science and research. He is an Indian Nodal Officer Scientist. He is J.C. Bose Foundation, member National Academy of Engineering, USA, and he is fellow member of at least 10 institutions. And there is a long list again. Dear friends, this is a very short brief about Professor Jhunjhunwala. Otherwise, I can speak at least 15 to 20 minutes on his biodata and his.
Sir, Arvind ji, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Thank you for really, and I never realized that Samta Power really have all of you. So I did not exactly know who am I talking to. I thought that I may be talking to people who are not have sufficient knowledge in this electric power industry. I now know that all of you have much more experience in this area. So my talk may sound somewhat hollow, but I'll begin by some steps towards India moving towards 100% renewable energy. What you see is a picture of IIT Madras Research Park. This is just outside IIT Madras. It is an independent organization that I have built, not with government funds, but it's a Section 8 company. We actually raised some initial seed capital and made this a self-supporting institution. And today, as was pointed out, it's a 1.2 million square feet campus. And this is important because in my talk, I'm going to refer to this. And it has about 100 companies doing R&D with IIT. And we have incubated some 220 companies. And the total value, market value of these companies that we have incubated is 11,000 crore rupees. It's a place which has lots and lots of young people full of energy to do research and development and commercialization, which has not been seen in India so far. So it is in this place we want to try to see that can we become 100% renewable and can we use this to go elsewhere. All of you know that the electricity today, solar-based electricity cost anywhere from 2 rupees to 2 rupee 50 paise, whereas wind-based is costing around 2 rupee 50 paise. Coal-based electricity is also similar cost, depends on how old the plants are. If there are new plants, because of the all kind of pollution control, it may cost more. Oil and gas cost much more. 16. So the question that is often asked, at least by my students and by other friends who are not in this area, what stops us from going 100% renewable? Because we know that the coal and oil and gas and petrol are all damaging the environment, and it's hurting the country because we have to import all the petrol and oil and things like that. So the first question is often asked, can we generate enough solar and wind? I'm not going to talk about this. That could have been a separate talk, but there is enough capacity in India to generate solar and wind energy such that all of the energy can come from solar. The primary problem is solar and wind is not 24/7. Solar is available when sun shines, wind is available when wind blows, and therefore output cannot be controlled by human beings. So the only way we can match it like any other electricity and control it is by using energy storage. So that whenever we have the generation is above, and generation is not in our control because once we set up a certain amount of solar and wind will be generated. So whenever there is excess energy, we put energy storage, and whenever there is a deficit, we take it out of the energy storage. Now, if I look at the total amount of total capacity today, which is installed capacity, as of March 21, we have close to 25% of the energy comes from renewable, but only about 7 to 8% in effective in total energy terms. In terms of installed capacity, yes, it is about 24-25%, but in terms of effective energy, because of the lower plant load factor of renewable energy, we find that only about 8% of electricity comes from wind, and a majority comes from coal. And this is what we do. The question is, how does one match generation to demand at every instant? Of course, the old method, when you used to have shortage of electricity, used to be load shedding. If there was a deficit. Now, if there is a surplus, it is possible to reduce production. Now, you can do it instantaneously for oil and gas and with some delay for coal, but for solar and wind, we will not be able to do that. There was another technique which came into, which is still important, and which is called demand management. Basically, smart grids to increase, decrease, and postpone use of power at individual household level, so as to match the demand and the supply. And of course, the technique which is now being talked about, and I'm going to talk more about it, is that convert the electricity into some other form and store electricity. There is all kinds of storage techniques. Pump water is a well-known. You pump the water up when you have excess electricity, up a hydel power plant, and then you let the water fall and generate the electricity back. This technique of round tripping the water losses are of the order of 30 to 35%. There has been lots of talk about storing energy in flywheels, which will be in vacuum. This has not been found to really store energy for very long, and also quite costly. There has been a lot of talk about conversion to hydrogen and reconversion to electricity. This is a very promising technology, but I will say it's a future technology. As of now, cost is very, very high. And of course, the one that we are using is that use batteries. Now, of course, we use batteries left and right in portable equipment. Lead acid battery is now quite widely used. Lithium-ion battery has become common in recent times. There are future batteries like solid state and others. But today, it is a lithium-ion battery which is becoming dominant, and I'm going to talk more about it. The basic system is very simple. To the grid, you can put a bidirectional converter, put it into a storage, and whenever you have excess and whenever you need more power, you take it out from the storage and feed it back to the grid. This is essentially the system, and you need to, of course, make storage along with bidirectional converters. The storages are expensive. I'll talk more about it. And not much is made in India. We have IIT Madras have started making it, and Research Park, and we will talk about it. The question that is often asked is, how much does the storage cost? And very often it is very confusing, because dominant cost of storage is capital cost. Those large batteries that you are talking about is a capital cost, one-time cost. And you can say the capital cost is 20,000 rupees per kilowatt hour, 30,000 rupees per kilowatt hour, 15,000 rupees per kilowatt hour. That is the upfront cost. And then there is a life for the storage. It has a fixed number of charge-discharge cycles before the storage capacity drops to a level after which you will not be able to use it. For example, there could be that in 2000 cycles, the original capacity will become 70%. So if you start with 1 megawatt hour of storage after 2000 cycles, that may become only 700 kilowatt hour, and it will not be as useful as a result of that. So that is kind of determines the life of the battery. And then you also, of course, determine what is in each time when you charge, discharge, what is the operation cost? Of course, there is electricity cost, but is there any other cost? Fortunately for battery, the other costs are small. The next very, very important question is, how many cycles of battery charge, discharge you use per day? Will you use charge, discharge 1 per day or 2 per day? If you use 1 per day, and if there are 2000 cycles, it will last for 2000 days, which will be approximately 5.5, 6 years. But if you use 2 cycles per day, then it will last only 3 years. And of course, instead of 2000 cycles, you can get a storage which is 10,000 cycles, then the number of years it can last will be more. Remember that you are going to pay capital cost of the storage, and associated with capital cost, there is going to be a certain depreciation over the lifetime. And then there is an interest cost. Very often the interest cost is not fully understood, and I'm going to talk more about the interest cost. Then there is an issue that does this storage decays? Does it leak? If you store charge the battery in the morning, a day later on, will some part of power will be lost? Now, fortunately for lithium-ion battery, etc., the losses are very small for a few days, so you can often ignore it. And then end-to-end energy efficiency. You start at the grid level, you convert the electricity to DC power and then charge the battery. Once the battery is charged, then you will take the energy out of the battery, convert it back to electricity, and then convert it to AC, and once again connect to the grid. What is the round trip losses? And it will depend on the energy efficiency of the charger discharger. It will depend on how much can battery give back. But today, one can get greater than 95% for large storage. We have built things which are greater than 95%. So I'll assume this number. From there, you will have to calculate effective cost of using the battery for 1 kilowatt hour. That means 1 kilowatt hour of electricity is pumped into the battery and then pumped out of the battery. The effective cost of battery will be computed using depreciation and interest plus the usage cost. And you have to, of course, have the lifetime and things like that. There is one other cost which are sometimes ignored, in fact, very often ignored. The battery, after it becomes, once it gets used, can you do something with the battery? Is it going to be a waste? Is there going to be environmental impact, toxicity, hazardous, recyclability? One can give a talk on this. I would sometimes can give a talk on this. But fortunately, lithium-ion battery today can be recycled to a great extent. And you can recover almost 90% of the original materials, lithium, manganese, cobalt, nickel, graphite, and reuse it to make new battery. And the recyclability is profitable. Of course, technology is quite complex, so we are just learning how to do it. But that is a crucial, otherwise this battery waste, we have seen huge tons of lead acid battery waste. We don't want tomorrow lithium-ion battery waste to be there all the time. So I will also not deal with it in this talk, but recycling is a must. And recycling without generating any kind of effluent, no gaseous effluent or minimal gaseous effluent, no solid effluent, no liquid effluent. Otherwise, if you're going to again create those waste and push it into the ground and things like that, then it's practically of no use. So I'll assume that we will be able to recycle without say any reasonable environmental impact. And then what will be the effective cost of usage? And one will have to do that. And for that, we have to assume, like for example, one thing that we'll do, that let us assume that there is renewable energy being created, solar and wind. And let's assume that 70% of the electricity generated is used directly. Let's take the cost to be 2.50 rupees per kilowatt hour. And 30% goes through the storage. So 30% of the energy usage is postponed, 70% is used immediately, and 30% is used later on. And if S is the cost to store 1 kilowatt hour of electricity, which I talked about last time, then the total average renewable energy cost will be 2.50 rupees plus S. How much is S in India? And then the average cost per unit, 70% cost will be 2.50 rupees only, because you are not passing through the storage. And 30% of the cost will be 2.50 rupees, the generation cost plus the storage cost. And this works out to be 2.50 rupees plus 0.3 times S. And I will do more computation later on. So this is a very crucial thing. And of course, one can say, why 30%? One can make it 50% or 20%. And all that will change. This is factor 0.3 will change. Now, what I did, we started building some of these large batteries because we wanted to take the IIT Madras Research Park. IIT Madras Research Park today consumes 25 megawatt hour of electricity per day. 25 megawatt hour. This is when it is not full and when there is a COVID. When it is full, we estimate the total usage to be 40 megawatt hour per day. So we decided to get renewable electricity for that, and we decided to build storage for that. We decided to build ourselves the storage. And there are two types of cells that we considered. Both are lithium-ion cells. One is these are lithium-ion NMC cells. This cost to the battery is approximately 20,000 rupees per kilowatt hour. Now, the cost may come down over time, and if you do very large, today we are talking about the cost for 10 megawatt hour of batteries that we are building. And it actually can give us 7,000 cycles before you have to replace the battery. This was the advanced NMC cells. There was another cell that was available to us. We have characterized the cells and learned everything about these cells. These cells are LTO cells, and they cost double, 40,000 rupees, but they also have double the number of cycles, or more than double the number of cycles, 15,000 cycles. These are the two cells for which we did all the computation, calculation, testing, and things like that. We haven't built anything like 10 megawatt hour, but 50 kilowatt hour we have built with these using this. Now, of course, this storage is not just the cost of the battery, but also the bidirectional converter and all the protection circuitry. And so we took that into this account. The actual cost of the storage is less. I've taken that bidirectional converter also. And then what I will do is that I will do a computation assuming interest rate is 2% and interest rate is 10%. So we'll do calculation all the way from 2 to 10%. One can extend it to 12% or 14%. But for long term, today banks may be able to finance about 10%. IIT Madras Research Park was built by taking loans, and our interest rate is about 10% long term. But if you go to United States and Europe or Japan, the interest rate can be as low as 2%. So I have varied the interest rate from 2% to 10% for both these batteries, and say what is the cost per kilowatt hour, considering all the factors. I'm not doing details of that, and this is the numbers that I get. Please look at this. This includes depreciation plus interest cost. This plus some other costs. This is the cost, assuming that I use only one cycle per day, which is pretty much like I'm assuming only solar is there. So one time I charge the battery, and then in the evening or night, I discharge the battery. That with one cycle per day, at 2%, my cost comes to about 4 rupees, 3 rupee 50 paise, 3 rupee 50 paise or 4 rupees per kilowatt hour. But at 10% interest rate, the cost comes to 7 rupees for the NMC battery and goes to as high as 11 rupee 50 paise for LTO battery. Now see this great difference at 10% interest rate. Now, one often does not realize how much the interest rate hurts. Very often we look at what West has done and try to copy them. In fact, when we buy storage, we often buy from the West without even understanding the full implication. If we understand Indian interest rate, and if I take 12%, it will further diverge. We will see that LTO battery is not good for India. It is the NMC battery. 7,000 cycles is all right. Cost has to be low, 17,000 rupees per battery, plus the rest around 20,000 rupees per kilowatt hour. This is the cost that if you assume this is what is there. Remember, the choice for the West could be either LTO or NMC. Our cost has to be NMC. This is assuming one cycle per day. But suppose I'm able to do 2 cycles per day. What happens? Now, 2 cycles will happen either when solar and wind is there, or sometimes solar is there and then my usage becomes higher. Then I start taking things from the battery. Then again, my usage becomes lower and I start charging the battery. If I'm able to do 2 cycles per day, my cost considerably reduced. So from both of them comes just at 2% interest rate, doesn't matter too much. It's still around 3 rupee 30 paise, 3 rupee 40 paise. But look at the 10% interest rate. The cost falls under 5 rupees, no longer 7 rupees. It is 475 per kilowatt hour with NMC cells. But even with LTO cells, it comes under 7 rupees. But ignoring LTO cells, I will say my cost will be less than 5 rupees per kilowatt hour for 2 cycles and about 7 rupees for a single cycle. What happens if I am able to do 3 cycles in 2 days, which is equivalent to 1.5 cycles per day? My cost will be somewhere in between 5 rupees and 7 rupees, maybe closer to 6 rupees. So these numbers are very important. This, of course, assuming that 20,000 rupees and 7,000 cycles, it can change. As the numbers change, we can change it. But this kind of computation that needs to be done. And this computation I have done in a very simple manner. When we take a housing loan or something like that, we pay installment. So I used a very similar thing. Actually did this on Excel and was able to compute that if I have to pay monthly for so many, for the lifetime, what will I have to pay? Calculated what is the electricity that I will generate per month and number of cycles of charge discharge that I will do, and computed this cost. So my storage cost is minimum is 5 rupees, and with one cycle it is about 7 rupees. Remember, our generation cost is only 2 rupee 50 paise for renewable. Of course, there will be a transport cost. We'll come to the transport cost in a short while. But that is what it is. Now, so essentially the same thing, 1 cycle per day is 7 rupees, 2 cycles per day at 4 rupees 75 rupees per unit per kilowatt hour of storage. Invest at the interest rate cost is under rupees 4. We will ignore this. What I'm very, very afraid is that very often this is the number that we use for our computation, not realizing that our interest rate is upward of 10%, not just 10%. It could be 11, 12%. Now, using this and assuming that 70% of renewable energy is used directly and 30% through storage, the cost per unit will be, average cost will be 2 rupees 50 plus point. And with that, my renewable energy cost is going to vary from just under 4 rupees, 3 rupee 95 paise to 4 rupees 60 paise. So this is my cost of generation cum storage. So this is my cost of 24/7 electricity, renewable energy, mixed of solar and wind, assuming 70% of energy is used directly and 30% through storage. So we must remember that. Now, there is another storage that we built in. Our research park, as I told you, is almost 1.2 million square feet. And today in these kind of buildings, air conditioning consumes about 40% of energy. Air conditioner, where you have a HVAC system which chills the water to 6 degrees centigrade. And this 6 degrees centigrade water is then recycled to all the rooms, where it cools the air, and that the air is then pushed into the rooms. What we did is that we said we will chill the water, and we put a large storage, 300 meter cube. We created a chilled water storage. We put a thermal storage, we insulated it a bit, put it in the basement, where we can chill the water at 6 degrees centigrade and use it anytime later. It can only be used for thermal loads, but 40% of my load is thermal. So I could actually use this 24/7. Now, one must remember that this storage kind of leaks. Every hour I get, my temperature goes from 6 to 6.5 to 6.5 to 7. So you have to use it within 4 hours, 6 hours. You don't have a long-term storage. And we found usage that about 5% losses are there, round trip losses are there. This cost very, very small. And what we have built with all the assumption, etc., my average cost comes to 2 rupee 45 per. I have a storage of 2.45 megawatt hour. That's a storage that I have built. Cost much lower than lithium ion. So this I'll put as a on top of my lithium ion storage. I'm going to continue to do the computation for lithium ion storage. This cost will be much less because it's again a one-time, mostly a storage cost, and my renewable cost of running it is very, very low. But this can be used in most large buildings where air conditioning is used. So once again, as I pointed out, my average cost of renewable energy with storage is between 4 rupees to 4 rupees 60 paise per unit. Now, what if I use 50% renewable energy through storage? Why only 30%? If you use 50%, my cost goes up to about 5 rupees to 6 rupees. But remember that this is a more of a theoretical computation, because I'll start by building this at today's cost. This is today's cost. And in 4 years' time, maybe in 4 years' time, my storage cost is going to fall down by 50%. So I will be able to do probably 50% renewable, also around 4 rupees to 5 rupees, 4 rupees to 450. So I will take 4 rupees to 450 as my base cost and go on top of it. Now, where do we begin? Of course, one can say that one can actually put this storage at the point of generation. And there's today some people are doing it. Almost everything is imported. Full understanding of its lifetime cost is not there. Sorry to say that. Mostly imported, mostly not even understood. Very often they take interest rate of the West and do that. We said that if you want to have massive storage all over the country, we cannot be forever dependent on imports. So we have to build it ourselves. So we decided to build it ourselves. Now the question is, if you are going to build it ourselves, are we going to get entry into large generation plant? Can we build 0.5 gigawatt hour of storage? Will anybody allow us? Sorry, the way India is, and I think all of you have been senior officers, will only import. So we said that we can start somewhere else. We said there are 40,000 such commercial complexes in the country, office complexes and other commercial complexes. In these commercial complexes, average cost of electricity I pay for this is 11 rupees per unit, including demand charge of about 1 rupee 50 to 2 rupees. This is the cost that I pay. Plus, high power cuts. Not very often, but still have high power faults and power cuts. And then I have to use diesel generator. My cost is 22 rupees. 22 rupees is not valid anymore. 22 rupees was when diesel cost was 70 rupees. I'm told today the diesel cost in Jaipur has crossed 100 rupees. My 22 will become about 30 rupees. This will add about another 10% to this cost. So I'm paying 11 to 12 rupees per kilowatt hour. Which, what if I try to use storage, renewable and storage? Now, I have used my rooftop, but I found that my rooftop is not good enough. My rooftop has solar, I put solar, about 10 to 15% of electricity I can generate from rooftop. That cost me about 3 rupees per kilowatt hour. But that's only with 10 to 15%. Today is closer to 15%. By the time I go to 40 megawatt hour a day, it will be 10%. And I don't have more space. Of course, I've used there about 17% efficiency cells. Tomorrow, I'm able to change it to 23, 24% in a few years' time. I'm able to get a little more, but not substantially more. So what else I have to do? Well, today it is possible for me to captive solar or wind energy generation remotely. I can do it 100 kilometers away and wheel it to the complex. This is today, regulations are there. There are companies which are ready to set up captive plants for me on a shared basis. They will set a much larger plant and each of us will own certain part of those plants. So my cost there goes up much more. As and when electricity is available, my cost at the generation point is 3 rupee 40 paise per kilowatt hour. And now, why it is not 2 rupees or 2 rupee 50 paise? Well, because these are smaller plants and they are going to partition it. There is, of course, possibility of reducing this cost tomorrow. But today, the best price that I can get for solar is about 3 rupee 40 paise per kilowatt hour. And then I have to do transmission and wheeling. And I have to pay to the grid about 85 paise. And then I have to pay demand charges to the DISCOM. It can come to little more than 1 rupee. Today I'm paying higher, but I think if I do this, I can balance my, if I have a storage, large storage, I will ensure that I only draw so much electricity from the grid. And since the demand charges is based on per kilowatt hour, per megawatt hour, I can ensure that it is not exceeds 1 rupee per kilowatt hour. So my total cost of generating renewable energy remotely and bringing it to my campus will be 340 plus 85, which is 425 plus 1, 5 rupee 25 paise. I can get that. Of course, this is and solar and wind is available. And now I have to use storage. Otherwise, of course, I am not doing the right thing. I'm not drawing the electricity when the electricity is generated. Now, of course, there are some policy allows me to draw later and all that, but those are transitory policies. Tomorrow, if I really have to use it, I'll have to promise the distribution agency that you don't have to worry about it. As and when you solar is generated, just bring it to my campus and I will pay you 1 rupee 85 paise per kilowatt hour. And I'll pay those who generate 3 rupee 40 paise and 5 rupee 25 and I'll draw all the electricity. Now, CAN office complex creates its own electricity storage, 10 megawatt hour lithium ion plus chilled water storage with bidirectional converter, and then use it within my office complex. This is what I am trying to do. I've just started experimenting with a slightly smaller storage, and tomorrow with the chilled water storage and 10 megawatt hour storage, I should be able to do this. What happens to this? My storage, as I pointed out, for 5 megawatt hour and above, may average cost about unit over its lifetime. And if I use 70% electricity directly when generated and 30% through storage, my average cost, as I pointed out, is 30% of that is 1 rupee 80 paise. So my earlier cost of 5 rupee 25, which was the generation cost plus transmission and distribution and wheeling cost plus demand charges, was 5 rupee 25. I have to add 1 rupee 80 and my average cost will come to 7 rupee 5 paise per unit. Even if I assume another 50 paise for some kind of wastage and all that, my cost comes to 50 paise, which is less than what I pay today to the electricity board. And if I include DG electricity, it is even more. So what I'm pointing out, today I can build this storage, and I plan to do this over next year and a half, 2 years, and actually save money for the research part with the existing policy. Now, existing policy does allow that I can allow my generation units to pump in energy and I can draw later, but that is unfair to the grid, to the DISCOM. Sooner or later, DISCOM will say, sorry, we will not do it. They're already saying that. But I think if they are getting a rupee 80 per kilowatt hour, and if they can instantly transmit and make it available, frankly speaking, is a win-win for them. So they should allow that in the long run. Policy should be able to get it at close to 7 rupee to 750 per kilowatt hour, which is a win for us. Now, remember the financials will improve over time. My feeling is captive RE cost, which I'm paying 3 rupee 25 paise, one should be able to bring it to 2 rupee 25 to 2 rupee 50 paise. Transmission, wheeling and demand charges may fall from 2 rupees. Actually, I should have redone this to about a rupee 50, a rupee 25. And my storage cost will also go down. So I should be able to bring down my 7 rupees to closer to tomorrow. It will mean transmission wheeling cost also has to be brought down to a rupee 50 and demand charges, and which is also not bad because they are just carrying electricity for me. A rupee 50 to them will be good, and storage cost will come down to 1 rupee 75%, and I'll be able to do 50% electricity, which basically means that I should be able to just about do it maybe 5 rupee 50 paise per kilowatt hour, or maybe 6 rupees per kilowatt hour. But that will be extremely, extremely useful for all such complexes. And this is assuming 10% interest rate, and I'm able to get less than 10% interest rate. Remember that I'll be able to immediately eliminate diesel generator. That's the first saving. I will not be polluting. Storage will pay back. I've taken the complete cost of storage, including its lifetime cost, interest rate, depreciation, and management. That's what the whole thing is. Now, one can start with commercial complexes. And as I told you, IIT Madras is building this storage, batteries and chilled water storage is already there. We are commissioning it right now. We're also building the energy management system. This is crucial. I must be able to draw all the electricity that is generated and then decide, should I use the electricity immediately or should I put it into my storage? Draw it from the storage when I need. This is a part of IITM's Institute of Excellence project, and I'm actually driving this. After commercial complexes, the next thing, one day we'll be able to take it to industrial complexes. Now, industrial complexes tariff is a little lower, but by that time, I'm hoping that we can do this at around 6 rupee, which will be still very, very beneficial. All the government in buildings, educational institutes. And I could then do it to housing complex. So a significant part of demand, I can do it in a decentralized manner. Now, centralized storage can then come. The experience will then help us build larger battery. We should be able to build larger batteries. My idea is, can we create a very, very big storage industry in India? This starts with these commercial complexes, go to industrial complexes, government buildings, then to housing complex, learn how to build for grid scale, and then do it in India so that we create jobs also in India and recycle batteries at the end of their life, generate all the material, and then again make the cells. Can we do it completely in India? Can we have a 5 to 10 years vision of doing it such that in India industry grows and at the same time we move closer to 100% renewable energy? I have also done some exercise for our campus right now, but one can do this exercise in general. How much does a storage cost? Now, this is a typical 24-hour curve for solar. Peaks at around 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, the place in the country. And wind, of course, varies from throughout the year, but a typical wind pattern is what I have put out here. This is the average wind pattern that is used in India today, but it will vary from time to time. Based on the pattern, which is not the, if I have specific solar plant at some place, a specific wind pattern, wind plant at some place, I can actually obtain this wind generation and solar generation plant. And based on that, I can then compute what will be the short-term storage requirement 24/7. What I do is that I then estimate my demand 24/7. It will be done by the management system. And based on the demand of yesterday, of last week, on the same day, and all that, I can actually estimate how much of the energy to put in the storage and how much to use directly. And I have to, of course, build the storage to be slightly higher than what I need for a day. I'll actually build it for 3-4 days, and I should be able to ensure that I can get maybe 95% renewable energy mismatch. So I think this part, at least theoretical work we have done, energy management system we are doing, but in practice, we will actually get that done. The problem comes in long-term storage. Look at the long-term storage. If I take all over the year, and I've taken 2020 data of the solar generated throughout the year, solar energy generated from centralized plants, this is fairly flat curve. There are some dips during rainy season, not very strong dips. What about wind? Wind varies quite a bit. It goes to almost 350 megawatt peak in some days, and then goes to about 100 megawatt peaks on many days. 4 months is very strong. 3 months is kind of moderate. And then 5 months is very, very small. Require storage for 7 months, not for a day or 2 days. Now, this batteries that I'm building or chilled water storage I'm building, that is good for a day's variation or 2 days variation. It is not good for variations of over long term. That is where we require different kind of storage. And I briefly talked about pumped hydro or hydrogen storage, and batteries are not stored. Maybe tomorrow something else can come up. And this is a topic where we need some R&D. There are all kinds of talks going in the world. Maybe one can find some new nuclear energy. Or that's where the problem will come. It will limit us to go about 75, 80%, maybe 80% with the short-term storage from solar and wind. But those other things, because of this inter-month variation, will become very, very problematic. And I don't have an answer to this. This is a thing that we are exploring to figure out. So policy will play an important role in this energy transition. And I'll request help from all of you senior people to work with us. Transition to renewable is inevitable, but speed depends on policy measures and capacity to innovate and adopt technologies and business solutions. Very important. Technology intervention and successful large-scale deployment and business interventions are very, very important for long-term viability. I will strongly say that this open access electricity, which I talked about, should be made. And I think all of you have worked in DISCOM. Let DISCOM get a rupee 50 paise per kilowatt hour and put open access, but not with what is called that you generate some other time and draw at any other time. You say you must instantly draw. Then a rupee 50 or even a rupee 25 paise is good enough. Let us sort of allow that in the interest of renewable energy. Focus to improve energy efficiency in all sectors. That's very important. And promote EV and local manufacturing. What I have not talked about is decentralized energy generation for solar and usage in individual office. Of course, in the complex, I had a decentralized solar generation on my rooftop, but I have not talked enough. Maybe more of that can be done with storage in homes and small offices. I'm doing a lot of work on that. Sometime one can talk about it, but I will stop out here. Pretty much it. Thank you. And as I told you, that I'm actually doing this in this campus. And request whenever possible, once we are past the COVID, you should visit us, you should see what we are doing and work with us, help us get there. We are, as was talked about in my biodata, my work started with telecom and internet, trying to bring 100 million telephones to India, 7 to 8 million telephones. Today we have gone past 1 billion. My work is done there. Last 7-8 years I've been working in energy because there is another area we had a lot of problems. Have done a lot of work, but this is the work that I'd like to do for the next few years. Thank you very much.
A great lecture. It's a new thing for us. Actually, we were always considering that the storage cost is only something like 1 rupee 50 paisa per unit, and why we are not improving the storage along with the hybrid system which we are now developing. But I would like to ask you only one thing, that recently the SECI and NTPC or any other body have started a tender for storage, including hybrid with storage. What is the cost which we are getting in the bidding? What is the cost normally we are getting now?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. And I've talked to Gurdeep Singh. I'm in fact asking him to partner with us because they will import everything. Now, I think all of you know that there is that's what will happen, and finally somebody else will benefit. A lot of these cells will be made in China and things like that. I am a very strong Indian at heart, and I have nothing against China or anybody else, but I would like to see manufacturing goes on in India and we get strength in India. So that is my passion, and I think this is kind of thing that we should work on. A number of you are asking me for my presentation. I'll be very happy to send the presentation. Please don't type in things here. I've given my mail here, ashok@tenet.res.in. It is there in the chat box. Please note it down. Send me a mail and I'll send you a presentation. This chat box will go away at the end of the talk. I will not be able to note down your email addresses. Please send me a small email at ashok@tenet.res.in. I will individually communicate with you and send me my presentation.
We will
Questions?
we will put up things on the YouTube, whatever the discussions have been.
That you can do, but if you want a presentation copy, I'll be happy to mail you. I can also help you, mail you more details. And please, I see number of you are writing in chat box. Unfortunately, I cannot copy the chat box. So, and it will go away after this. So please write me a mail. I see Maheshwari ji writing. I'll be very interested in getting in touch with you. I see Bhatia sir writing. Please write to me. I will not be able to copy. I'll answer your questions. Thank you. I'll be able to go up to 7:15.
Anybody asking questions, sir? Mr. A.K. Gupta? A.K. Gupta,
I think all of them are on mute. Please unmute all of them so that they can ask questions.
yes. A.K. Gupta जी, आप कुछ पूछना चाहेंगे?
हाँ, अभी जो झुंझुनवाला साहब ने जो प्रेजेंटेशन दिया है, ये पावर सेक्टर में जो लोग अभी काम कर रहे हैं, खासतौर से रिन्यूएबल में, और राजस्थान में सबसे ज्यादा पोटेंशियल है, उसको देखते हुए राजस्थान ने लीड भी ली है। और जो प्रॉब्लम है राजस्थान के, वो कहीं तो बेनिफिशियल है हमें और कहीं जो है डिसएडवांटेजेस है, तो उसके लिए स्टोरेज इज द ओनली ऑप्शन। तो झुंझुनवाला साहब ने जो पॉइंट्स टच किए हैं, उसमें मैं चाहूंगा कि शायद वो उनके ऑलरेडी स्कोप में होगा, वो इस पर रिसर्च कर रहे होंगे। डीएसएम साइड उन्होंने कम टच किया उन्होंने उसमें, तो डीएसएम साइड,
What is
डीएसएम डिमांड साइड मैनेजमेंट जो है,
हाँ, डिमांड साइड मैनेजमेंट, ठीक है।
तो उसमें जैसे ईवी चार्जिंग से अपन लोड शिफ्ट कर सकते हैं।
हाँ,
रात
तो
के
वो हम
समय
लोग कर रहे हैं। मैंने
वो
प्रेजेंटेशन
शायद आप ऑलरेडी,
वो
वो आप ऑलरेडी
कर
कर रहे होंगे, क्योंकि ये बहुत बड़ा सब्जेक्ट है। तो आपने जो टच किया है बेसिकली स्टोरेज का आपने टच किया है, दैट इज वेरी गुड। और इट्स एन आई ओपनर फॉर मी आल्सो दैट यू हैव कंसीडर्ड 30% स्टोरेज कैपेसिटी required for the entire generation, and that is true also. But while we are considering the actual expenditure capex required for the storage, we were considering the entire cost of the generating capacity of the solar. Of course, again, it is difficult with the wind power. Wind power in Rajasthan 4,000 megawatt. Sometimes it comes for 2 hours only.
Yeah.
So that disturbs the entire grid of Rajasthan. And of course, the other states also, like Gujarat and UP, MP, which we are connected to with the synchronized grid. Another thing you have not touched, but we are working upon, you must be also working, and you have talked about a little in your later time in this speech, that is about Kusum Yojana, distributed energy generation from the solar power plants. So we are working with it, and Rajasthan is beneficial because the entire energy consumption of Rajasthan for agriculture sector is about 42%, which is highest in Asia, not only in India. So that way, for flattening of the load curve, it can help us. But the transmission and distribution capacity as of now is not adequate. So that need to be, and we are. Another thing is, if you can raise our hands in the advisory capacity to the Government of India, Ministry of Power, that the hydel power generation could be used as pump storage or the storage capacity that they can keep with them, and only it should run when the sun is not giving any radiation, and because it attracts the intent also. So the government has to intervene, the central government has to intervene by making some regulation. Of course, they will be getting the electricity from the grid at the same cost as they were getting from the hydel generation, especially Punjab, UP, Haryana. So these are the points which I could just now note it down and could narrate it now.
Yes, so I would like to answer some things. So first of all,
Yes,
our
sir.
major work is on electric vehicles.
Yes, sir.
Majorly,
Yes, sir.
we have done a lot of work. We again are making every component. We are making motors and controllers. We are making batteries. We are making chargers. We are making converters. And we are helping put together the total vehicles. We are also testing that how a vehicle with large battery can be used as a storage and how can demand side management be done. So that was one thing that you talked about. Our another major work is on solar DC system. We have created a solar DC system where we never convert anything to AC, just keep it to DC and power DC lights, DC fans, DC electronics. We installed 5,000 such system in Rajasthan about 5 years back, 5 years back. And we have done something like 60,000 homes in Assam, in Meghalaya, Manipur, and Jammu and Kashmir. All the difficult terrains where grid could not go. We are now working on a decentralized generation up to 9 kilowatt. We are building these systems ourselves with the storage. So that also we are doing, and we will put the demand management on something like that.
That's very good, sir.
So as far as the agricultural pump, we are doing some interesting work, but I don't know whether that will really carry forward. We are doing in such a manner that suppose you put a solar plant at a field and you don't put three, you put only one phase electricity. So single phase electricity, they will not be able to use that for pumps. They have to use solar only for pumps. Now, solar, you don't need to pump water all the time. What we'll do is that the inverter that we have pumped, the inverter that we have designed, can actually feed power to the single phase electricity. So the farmer will have option either to pump water or to feed power to the
Domestic use.
they cannot to the grid. They cannot draw power from the grid. Now, this, if they feed power to the grid, it will give them cash. And if they
Yeah.
use it for pumping, then of course it will give them water. It will help them conserve water. They will not unnecessarily waste energy.
Okay,
They will
okay.
either. So this is some system that we have designed, but I don't know whether there will be. I try to talk to MNRE, but they don't.
MNRE has, sir, MNRE has already implemented this 3 years back. And
Yeah, I know. I was there at that time. But
Yes.
lost team.
So that is so
I'm not anymore associated with the Ministry of
MOP.
Power and
MOP.
MNRE.
Okay.
I know them well. I can go them, but I find it very difficult to go and अपना सर फोड़ना कहते हैं ना, तो सर आप लोग ज्यादा जानते हैं. हम लोग प्रोफेसर लोग हैं. बियॉन्ड अ सर्टेन पॉइंट हम लोग छोड़ देते हैं. हम लोग अपना टेक्नोलॉजी का काम करेंगे, टेक्नो इकोनॉमिक्स इंडस्ट्री बनाने का काम करेंगे. अब
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल।
हर जगह लड़ाई करना हमसे नहीं होता है.
संजय साबू जी, आप पूछना चाहेंगे? संजय साबू है, CII राजस्थान के चेयरमैन है संजय साबू. संजय जी निकल गए हैं.
कोई भी और पूछना चाहे आप अनम्यूट कर दीजिए सबको.
सबको अनम्यूट कर दिया सर. We have unmuted from our side. Anyone asking questions, sir?
Can unmute themselves and ask questions. Two participants raised hands. आप क्वेश्चन आस्क कीजिए जो रेज किया है.
हेलो.
हाँ बोलिए सर.
हेलो, आई एम BC माथुर फ्रॉम जोधपुर.
जी.
मेरा आपसे एक प्रश्न था रिगार्डिंग installation of a DC microgrid for the poor people.
Yes.
आपने राजस्थान में जोधपुर डिस्कॉम में फलोदी एरिया में 4000 फलोदी जोधपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट एंड जैसलमेर डिस्ट्रिक्ट, इसमें 2016-17 में आपने 4000 हाउस होल्ड को DC माइक्रोग्रिड 125 किलोवाट 125 वाट्स पैनल लगा करके उनको कनेक्शन दिए थे. बट
I have visited the sites also, but they are not in a operative condition due to failure of the
सर डिस्कॉम को जो कंपनी लगाई है उसको थोड़ा एएमसी देना
हाँ,
पड़ेगा,
हाँ,
वो
वो
ठीक
मैं
कर
आपकी-
देंगे, तुरंत ही ठीक कर देंगे।
मैं आपकी
committed to
नॉलेज में
preparing that.
मैं आपकी नॉलेज में इसलिए कि आप इस प्रोजेक्ट के सूत्रधार हैं। दूसरा मेरा आपसे निवेदन है कि जोधपुर डिस्कॉम में करीब 1,25,000 हाउस होल्ड अभी तक ऐसे हैं जिसको डिस्कॉम न तो ग्रिड ले जाएगा और न सोलर से इलेक्ट्रीफाई करेगा। तो उनको मैं चाहता हूं कि डीसी माइक्रो ग्रिड से उनको हाउस होल्ड को इलेक्ट्रीफाई किया जा सकता है। अगर आप गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से इसके लिए स्पेशल बजट लेके
सर
करवाना तो
मैं ले भी आऊंगा, सरकार आपको परमिशन भी दे देगी, पर वो हम लगाने के बाद वो पैसा पे नहीं करेगी। हमने बहुत तक हम लोग रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूशन है, मैं एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट का है।
नहीं, मेरा आपसे निवेदन है उसमें एक एडिशनल वो जो ऑप्शन दिया जा सकता है, प्रीपेड मीटर सिस्टम, एंड दैट थ्रू द वॉलेट सिस्टम। एक ग्राम पावर कंपनी है पूर्व में,
मालूम है मुझे,
उनके साथ हमने जो एसी माइक्रो ग्रिड लगाए थे पाली डिस्ट्रिक्ट में विद ए प्रीपेड सिस्टम, and they are quite good, in a good condition for operation. One person has been made in charge, and he used to recharge their SIM for the operation of the solar.
सर अगर डिस्कॉम कराना चाहता है तो हम कर सकते हैं।
तो डिस्कॉम तो क्यों नहीं कराना चाहेगा?
तो वो सर उनको बोलिए, हमको लिखेगा, हम कर देंगे, हम मीटरिंग भी लगा देंगे, हम ऐसा कर देंगे।
देखिए अशोक साहब, मैं डिस्कॉम का चेयरमैन रहा हूँ, जोधपुर डिस्कॉम का।
हाँ नमस्कार।
I retired in the year 2008 and this scheme was prepared by me. उस वक्त इस स्कीम का नाम रखा गया था मुख्यमंत्री विद्युतीकरण योजना। आज की तारीख में गरीब की झोंपड़ी में प्रकाश के लिए आप ही कुछ कर सकते हैं। मेरा इसलिए आपको
डिस्कॉम को करवाना पड़ेगा। मैं एक ही चीज नहीं कर सकता हूं, मैं बिजनेसमैन नहीं हूं। अगर कल मुझे आकर उनको पांव पर पांव पड़ना पड़ेगा कि हमारा पैसा क्लियर
करो, नहीं ऐसा सर, इसमें आपको ऐसा कुछ नहीं करना पड़ेगा।
फंडिंग की कह रहे हैं सर फंडिंग कौन करेगा?
से आप
माथुर साहब मैं इसमें आपको इंटरप्ट करूंगा। जो ये 2016 में डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड सोलर पावर प्लांट लगाए गए थे 100 वाट के, उसमें ये कंडीशन थी कि जो वेंडर जो है ये ठीक है, इन्होंने हैंडओवर कर दिए और आपने आरआरईसी के थ्रू लगवाए। एक मिनट सुनो आप, आरआरईसी के माध्यम से हम लोगों ने लगवाए थे ये, और उसमें 5 साल के लिए वो उसकी वेंडर की मेंटेनेंस करेगा, और उसके मालिक जो है डिस्कॉम होंगे। तो डिस्कॉम की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, जैसा अभी अशोक साहब कह रहे हैं,
बिल्कुल है
कि वो उसको वो टेकअप करें, और ये गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की
डिस्कॉम अपनी जिम्मेदारी से नहीं हट सकता। अल्टीमेटली इसका कस्टोडियन तो डिस्कॉम ही है।
सर वी विल रिक्वेस्ट यू टू डिस्कस इट आफ्टरवर्ड्स। यू कैन आस्क हिम।
ठीक है
Sir, you can ask him a question. We can
सवाल है अगर अलाउ
जरूर प्लीज गो अहेड।
सर नमस्कार, झुनझुनवाला साहब, बहुत बहुत आपका धन्यवाद इतने वंडरफुल सेशन के लिए, और साथ साथ समता पावर का धन्यवाद। मैं अभिमन्यु धनखड़, सेक्रेटरी जनरल ऑल इंडिया फेडरेशन ऑफ पावर डिप्लोमा इंजीनियर्स। मेरा सवाल आरई इंस्टॉलेशन कैपेसिटी के जो टारगेट्स हैं गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के, उनसे संबंधित एक सवाल है और एक छोटा सा निवेदन आपसे, दोनों चीजें एक साथ कर दूंगा, ज्यादा समय नहीं लूंगा। हमारे 2022 तक माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने टारगेट और ऊर्जा मंत्रालय ने टारगेट ट्रिपल एनर्जी इंस्टॉलेशन के टारगेट 170 गीगावाट इन आरई अप टिल 2022 और 2030 तक ये टारगेट फिक्स किए हुए हैं 450 गीगावाट। पहली बात तो ये कि पॉइंट ए क्या हम इन टारगेट्स को अचीव कर पाएंगे। दूसरा, क्या हमें इतने एम्बिशियस टारगेट सेट करने की रियल में आवश्यकता है? ये तो मेरे दो सवाल हैं। और निवेदन ये है कि भारत सरकार के आंकड़ों के अनुसार आज के दिन वर्तमान में एग्रीकल्चर के 6% फील्ड ऐसे हैं जो कि वर्षा आधारित जो सिंचाई पे डिपेंडेंट है। उसमें मेरा आपसे निवेदन ये है, आप इतना बड़ा संस्थान से इतने बड़े आदमी हैं, तो जो एग्रीकल्चर में आपने थोड़ा सा उसमें इनपुट दिया है, एग्रीकल्चर पंप सेट को सोलर एनर्जी से चलाने के लिए अगर कोई ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी हो, उसके लिए कोई स्पेसिफाइड प्रोजेक्ट अगर आप उसमें स्टार्ट करें, तो जो भारतवर्ष की जो जीडीपी है और जो एग्रीनियन सेक्टर का उसमें इनपुट है, उसको हम मल्टीफोल्ड इंक्रीज कर सकते हैं। और आप जैसे पॉलिसी मेकर जो इंटरवेंशनलिस्ट हैं, वो इसमें बहुत बड़ा योगदान प्ले कर सकते हैं। मेरा आपसे ये निवेदन है, इस विषय में थोड़ा महत्वपूर्ण कार्य जो बात किया जाए ग्रीन सेक्टर, उसमें सोलर एनर्जी बहुत बड़ा योगदान दे सकती है।
तो अभिमन्यु जी, पहले तीसरे प्रश्न से, यस, एग्रीकल्चर पर पंप लगाना सोलर से मैं तैयार हूं। आप मुझे ईमेल लिखिए, मैं उस पर काम कर रहा हूं। थोड़ा सा पीछे रख रखा हूं क्योंकि मुझे पता नहीं है कि किन किन के पांव पड़ना पड़ेगा। ये पांव पड़ते पड़ते हम थोड़ा थक गए हैं, थोड़ी उम्र हो गई है सर। छोटे थे तो बहुत ज्यादा दौड़ कर सबके पर पांव पड़ते थे, पर ये काम कराना सरकार से बड़ा बड़ा तकलीफ दे काम है। आज मैं 68 साल का हो गया हूं, तो इतना ही कर सकता हूं। पर मैं आपसे बात करूं, आप यंग आदमी लगते हैं, आपसे आप मुझे ईमेल डाल दीजिए, मैं अपना ईमेल इसमें डाला हूं। आपके जो पहले दो क्वेश्चन थे कि ये टारगेट अचीवेबल है क्या, देखिए हमको ये टारगेट हमको अच्छे इसीलिए लगते हैं क्योंकि अगर हम ये टारगेट अचीव करते हैं तो ये भारत को बहुत फायदा होगा। एक तो हम अपने यहाँ पोल्यूशन हटा सकते हैं, इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन ऑफ व्हीकल्स कर सकते हैं, ऑयल इंपोर्ट कम कर सकते हैं, तो फायदा होगा। ये करेंगे क्या नहीं करेंगे सारी पॉलिसी पर डिपेंड करता है। ये पॉलिसी रुक रुक के आती है, लॉबिंग के कारण आती है, कुछ होता है तो। और दूसरी तीसरी चीज जो मैं बोलना चाहूंगा कि बिना स्टोरेज डाले तो नहीं हो सकता है। पर जो जैसा मैंने आज कहा कि हम कमर्शियल बिल्डिंग से शुरू करें, ये स्टोरेज डालने दें, उसके बाद इंडस्ट्रियल 40% हमारा इलेक्ट्रिसिटी इंडस्ट्री कंज्यूम करता है, वहां डाल दें। हाँ, तो क्यों नहीं हो सकता है? तब ये हाँ, ऑफ कोर्स हमारे कोल प्लांट्स को इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा, पर एनीवे कोल प्लांट्स आज भी 60% से ज्यादा प्लांट लोड फैक्टर से नहीं चलते। हमें नए सोलर प्लांट नए कोल प्लांट नहीं लगाने चाहिए। धीरे धीरे पुराने कोल प्लांट को हमें हटाना पड़ेगा। तो उसकी भी लॉबी रहेगी, इंडिया वर्क्स विद अ लॉबी, तो वो तो मुश्किल सर होगी ही। मुझे बहुत खुशी है कि समता पावर नाम की ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इस डायरेक्शन में काम कर रही है। तो ऐसी कई जगह और हम थोड़ा देश के प्रधानमंत्री को, पावर मिनिस्टर को हम बता सके कि ये चीज राइट चीज करना चाहिए। हम जुड़ने तैयार हैं। हम रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट के आदमी हैं, हम टेक्नोलॉजी का आदमी हैं, हम इकोनॉमिक्स जानते हैं, इंडस्ट्री का काम करवा सकते हैं, पर लॉबिंग का काम सर हम लोग
राइट सर,
we are poor lobbyists. We can give good talks.
थैंक्स।
Good.
Sir, my last question.
Okay. पर उससे अधिक लॉबी नहीं कर सकते।
Sir, my last question.
हाँ,
Sir, recently coal mines commercial operations individuals को देने के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने ऑप्शंस किए हैं। तो उन्होंने जो नॉर्म्स हैं कोल यूज करने का 34% एस कंटेंट से कम था, उसको रिलैक्स कर दिया है। और भी सल्फर FSD को भी रिलैक्स कर दिया है, नाइट्रोजन भी रिलैक्स कर दी है। तो ये एक तरह से हम कहते हैं कि हम पॉल्यूशन कम करना चाहते हैं रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी डाल करके। दूसरी तरफ अपने कोल माइंस को ऑप्शन में बहुत अच्छी रेट्स आ रही हैं क्योंकि उन्होंने नॉर्म्स रिलैक्स कर दिए हैं। So how is it that again the question
क्या
of
पता है सर आपको, आप
Sir,
ज्यादा जानते हैं। ये रिलैक्स करने का कोई मतलब ही नहीं है। हाँ, ये चीज करते रहते हैं। और मैंने एक चिट्ठी लिख दी थी इसके बारे में पीयूष जी को और RK सिंह को, तो उन्होंने कहा कि तुम चुप रहो। तो अब क्या बोला जाए?
ठीक है।
हाँ, अब तो थोड़ा डरावरा भी देते हैं, ज्यादा हल्ला। दूसरी बात है, हम तो प्रोफेसर लोग हैं भाई, और R&D का काम जानते हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी का काम जानते हैं, इंडस्ट्री को हेल्प कर सकते हैं। मैं इंडियन इंडस्ट्री करवाना चाहता हूँ, स्ट्रेंथन करना चाहता हूँ। अब देखिए आपके यहाँ राजस्थान में जीनस नाम की कंपनी है, एक और कंपनी है क्या नाम है जोधपुर में,
सिक्योर मीटर्स।
सिक्योर मीटर। सर ये हमारे यहाँ कम से कम ये सब बनने तो लग गया है, नहीं तो हम सब कुछ इंपोर्ट करते। हाँ, तो आई एम वेरी मच फॉर ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ इंडस्ट्री टू बी, एम्प्लॉयमेंट बढ़ेगा इंडिया में, तभी इंडिया की जीडीपी का फायदा होगा। हमें तो ये करना ही पड़ेगा, तो हम तो भाई देश के लिए काम करते हैं, यही किए हैं और यही करते रहेंगे।
So now I will request Rajendra Bhanal sir to give a vote of thanks and comments. Rajendra Bhanal sir, please, last, sir, just 2 minutes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Saab. And on behalf of Santa Power and on my own behalf, thanks a lot. I mean, it was very to me. I am not an engineer. I could have been an engineer had I continued in BITS Pilani when I joined there. But then I moved to the civil service and worked in the administration for a long time. And I am pained by the type of experience you had working with the government. And and I think that is a sad reflection on the way the government functions in our country, and the things which are not technically sound or economically sound decisions are not taken on technical and economic parameters, but are taken on some other parameter. That is a but the way you have explained everything, I think it has been a scintillating experience for me. Very brilliant. I have been a student of physics. I could understand what you all said, and the way you developed this topic, and the way you brought out various issues of energy storage and various factors which go into energy storage. And so what I can say in brief is that you are a man of future of the country. And my only wish is that the future can be brought to the present as early as possible. If we can reduce the gap to the present to the maximum extent possible, that would be very useful for the country. All of us are Indians and we want India to prosper, but it should get free out of this type of very unscientific pressures and those types of things. Samta Power is one organization which is trying it. It's in a very limited manner under various stalwarts to move towards a situation which should help, or we should actually be with people like you who are trying to work so dedicatedly, I would say, and for such a long time. And I think your say should be much more in the government, and you should not, Professor. I think my honest request is.
Sir, Dharmji, Devji,
Yes, sir.
thank you very much. Ek to, I'm very impressed with Samta Power. I never realized, I think this people who have worked in electricity and understands getting together, even if they are retired people, can be a huge force. Is this going on all over the country?
I can appreciate what you are saying. I can appreciate.
Do other states also have similar organization?
But I wish your thinking translates into action in the minds of the people who are managing the various corporations also, DISCOMs also, and the government ministries also. But I'm really enlightened. I'm personally very grateful to you, having been a student of physics and understood what you are saying, and the future lies in what you are saying. And I'm only saying, let us bring future at the earliest to the present. The future becomes the present as early as possible towards a great future. And we don't need to buy, as you said rightly, we don't need to be dependent on other countries for small things. And you are rightly venturing into this field, trying to educate people. As a professor, you don't need to be afraid. You don't need to be scared. I think the entire country would be with you in this sector. When you move ahead, I think let God be with all of us, so that the people of the country could be better served with the help of science, technology, and basically these principles, and not with any extraneous factors. It was really sad when you said that you have to पाँव पकड़ना है, हाथ जोड़ना है. किसके पाँव पकड़? उल्टा कर रहे हैं आप तो. पाँव तो आपके पकड़ने चाहिए आके मंत्रियों को आके. पाँव तो आपके पकड़ने चाहिए अफसरों को आकर के, भाई आप ये काम कर रहे हो, मेहनत से कर रहे हो, चलो हमें बताओ, सिखाओ थोड़ा बहुत. खैर अभी यही बात है. I think that will not go further into it. My salutations to you and my namaskar to you, and I'm grateful to you personally and on behalf of Samta Power. Thanks a lot. And I think we should. I'll try to be in touch with you on mail extremely enlightened on what you said, and this is what the future of the country has to be, and it shall be. I have no doubt. Let there be no pessimism. I think there are many great people in the country working for the betterment of the country. Wish you all Godspeed, Professor, because incidentally, you and I were born in the same year, 1953. So I think you are not. So you are not
Thank
that
you,
old.
Rajendra
You are
ji.
not that old. You are not that old to say that okay, leave it. No, not like that.
No, thank you, Ji. I will not give up. I will
Yes.
continue to do
Yes, please.
one.
Yes,
I want to
yes.
thank Samta Power.
Sir, on behalf of Samta Power, we say we are all with you. We want you to go ahead. All the projects you have taken up, we will do our best to cooperate and see things through.
No, so I wanted to thank Samta Power. I never realized that the people who have been working in electricity sector, once they become older and retired, they can get together like this and become a force. Are there organizations like this in other states? In Jaipur, and I think if there are, we should connect with them. I'm willing to work with all of you to see India's power future becomes very good. Our discoms are not in good shape. Our electricity sector is not in good shape. The policy should come from people like you. So I will be willing to work with you, and you please help us come up with better policy. I would like to work with Samta Power, and thank all of you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It's really great for us that you accepted our invitation and gave us your presentation. Thanks once again, sir. Thank you all the participants for hearing him very calmly and patiently. I thank you all for participation. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
for your
Dharmesh.
time. We would request you to have another after some time, after a year, or whenever you feel we would like to have you comments on DSG, because DSG is very important for us. DSG is very important for the state, distributed solar generation. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.